What's up, guys? Winter Kills here. Welcome back to a brand new duel video. We've got Psy-Frames versus Atlantean mermails, and as most of you know, that I have a severe hatred for Psy-Frames. So I was like, you know what? Let's get a video of me playing against Psy-Frames again with some mermail. So if any of you basically know how Psy-Frames work, they're a bunch of hand trap monsters that basically get to play and activate when you do things. If you summon a monster, if you attack, if you activate an effect, things like that, certain ones activate in their hand, they summon themselves to the field and summon another one from deck and destroy the thing that you basically triggered their Psy-Frame with. And it's very annoying, actually, because all the deck does is sit behind other hand traps and draw power and tries to stall basically and grind you into oblivion, because that's what this deck does, is it can grind a tremendous amount unless they open up terribly, which I've had happen before when I'm playing against Psy-Frames. So it is a common thing that can happen sometimes, yes, but with the draw power that the deck has, sometimes it's a little easier. So I'm taking the safe approach here. I have other plays that I can make, like I think I have a Neptibus maybe in my hand or something, and I know I'm not going to need the Gamma Seal because he's never really going to have a threat on his field for too long of a time unless I let him get one, which I really wasn't planning to do. So I just kind of attack him for 1,000 and attack him for 17. But of course, my attack isn't going to go through completely. He'll get to summon one from hand, and these will get banished at the end of the turn and end up ghost ogring his field spell, because that would have allowed him to synchro into a monster during my turn, which would have been Zeta. Very annoying card to deal with. Banish himself and another attack position special monster that I control for a turn. It basically does the same thing that Omega does, but it's for special summon monsters on the field. And you see I have the Gofu play that I could go for. What if he has Gamma in his hand? I know he has Gamma. I really don't want to activate effects, because that's something that's going to help him play more, and I don't want him to play more. So I just want to keep grinding him down, essentially not doing anything. Let him try to stall a little bit longer as I keep attacking directly. But his build is a little bit different than pure Psy-Frames, I would say. There's a bit of a zombie engine as you saw him add that Solitaire. Very good card. One card Omega, I think, once it gets on the field. Sending Mizuki and things like that. Or summoning like Unizombie. Then Unizombie sends Mizuki, and Mizuki summons Solitaire and all that jazz. So basically, here I'm normal summoning Swap Frog. Or not Swap Frog, normal summoning Pike. And I don't think I activate his effect, because I just don't want to. And I try to swing in for some more damage. He's going to activate Solitaire, and he's going to go for Unizombie. Unizombie luckily has Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre, like one of the main reasons why I'm staying in this game. Some well-timed Ghost Ogres on his field spell and on his Unizombie helping me out. A tremendous bunch. And another interesting thing about his deck that I don't think I've said yet is that his build plays, I think, however many copies, whatever it's at, he plays Final Countdown, essentially, because it like stops the stall game that your opponent would try to play. You know, you limit yourself to 20 turns. You know, you can only stall for so long. I think it's just a gimmick. It's not really intended to work so much as it is just a gimmick. But it's something that he threw in his build. I've got like Neptibus and Moulin in hand and stuff like that. Like a lot of goodies, some Gofu. And I know he has the Gamma in hand. So I'm like, you know what? Just don't be greedy. Just attack for a game that ends up winning me game one. And he did end up having a Gamma in his hand. He was like, use the Neptibus so you can get something going. And luckily I didn't. Starts off with Unizombie and Foolish Burial Goods to send, I think, Overdrive. He's going to get that one card Omega right off the bat. Thanks to Solitaire. Card is busted. And he's basically able to go first this game, which is something that I didn't really want him to do, but of course he gets the choice. And I think this deck is much better suited to be able to go first. Mermails, that is. And there's some real good synergy Omega has specifically with that Overdrive card. So basically the card says it can't be used if it was sent there this turn. So an interesting thing that you can do is, and of course on the Neptibus summon there, he's going to use Omega, and then basically get a card out of my hand, and he will banish his Psy-Frame Overload, or it's Overload, not Overdrive, but Overload to search a Psy-Frame. The interesting thing is, though, I'm not sure if this is 100% correct, but at least this is what I was told, is that if Omega sends Overload back to the grave, it doesn't technically count as being sent to the graveyard, it's just sort of put back. I don't know, but you can use it the same turn that Omega returns it to the graveyard. So that's some pretty cool synergy if he banishes it off itself and then uses Omega to return it, and then in the same turn again returns it back. So that's pretty cool. And then we'll see Teus come down, discarding Dragoons. He's going to activate, I think, the one that is triggered on special summons. No big deal. He's going to end up destroying the Teus, I think, which shouldn't hurt too much. Or maybe Teus doesn't get destroyed with this one. I don't know the Psy-Frames too much. All I know is that they're just very annoying. Now, this next few moments here are basically things that I get wrong because I'm just unfamiliar with how Psy-Frames work. And it's all that really boils down to. I know they're just, it's all, you know, from face value, it's an annoying deck that has way too many goddamn hand traps. You know, that's what I have in my head as to deal with it. But something I didn't realize is that most or all of the Psy-Frame hand trap monsters have to be, in order for them to summon themselves in the field and activate their effects, you have to control no monsters. So I was playing it a little bit differently than I should, and I fully admit that I kind of screwed up a bit. But I'm about to put a third Megalo on the board, so that's pretty cool. Discarding Ronin Toad and Abyssmander. 3 Megalos on the field, and a Teus. The frickin' squad is all here, ladies and gentlemen. And they said link format would slow us down. Boy, oh boy, were they wrong. The only thing that's slowing me down is myself, because I'm so bad at this game. Comment section. I know. What I should have done is made VFD, called light, and then I would have been in the clear. I probably could OTK'd, and this video would be over, ladies and gentlemen. But it is I, the mediocre mermail player who's trying to become better than he is now sitting there flustered in his chair, being like, wow, I probably had game right there. And I don't. Now I get to deal with my field slowly getting dwindled away. And it's kind of heartbreaking to watch because I worked so hard to get that triple Megalo. Now I just have one lonely Megalo. And it sucks. But if I just had that, if I just didn't have that lack of knowledge like I was talking about, if I would have just known, like, you know, like, oh, you know, if I just, you know, make VFD and call light, I'm in the clear. Because what stopped me making VFD in the first place was I'm like, oh, he's just going to gamma it on the effect activation. I'm like, there's no point in doing that then. I'll just try to attack, and if he drops the, whatever it is, beta or whatever it is on me, that stops certain attacks, like, I guess that's okay. And I lose my True King of all calamities because he's been able to decrease his attack by 1 Psy-Frame that he discards, and I think he drops it by like 1200 or something. He's able to beat over it for a decent amount of damage. Twin Twister comes down on my turn. I'm basically deciding what I want to discard. I have a Ghost Ogre and a Gofu. I'm like, if I discard the Ghost Ogre, I get rid of both of my pieces of removal. So the Twin Twister and the Ghost Ogre. But if I get rid of the Gofu, I still have some sort of, during his turn, defense to stop his plays. And I wanted to keep that Ghost Ogre, because I felt like the Gofu wasn't going to go off because my Megalo is still sitting there, and he's just going to be able to gamma it anyways. And going into a Decode Talker really doesn't help me that much, because I'm not going to be able to beat over his Psy-Frame Lord Omega either way. So again, my horrible misplay, it all comes back to that in the end. That is the reason why this game starts to go downhill for me. Yeah, I just don't know what it is. If it's just me forgetting some things during, you know, just playing in an actual match, the pressure's on, not prioritizing the right things, or in some case, like, it could be me, it could be anybody. It's just having a slight lack of knowledge of your opponent's deck can cost you a game. That's why I think sometimes if people did some research on certain decks, like if certain players who despise meta researched and figured out, you know, how Zoo decks work, how True Draco decks work, they'd have a much better time against those decks in certain situations because you know where their weakest points are, where to stop them, and stuff like that, etc., etc. Of course, if I would have had that same knowledge, I would have been better off that game. I would have won 2-0, but we're going into game 3. Again, just normaling Pike and passing. I don't want to trigger any effects. But then again, is my mindset the right mindset going in? Should I try to go all out and maybe lose to one of his hand traps? No Ghost Ogre here for the first Omega. Because I'm thinking, if I go all out turn 1, because I think the Gofu play is kind of a fragile play. And if that gets stopped, not only do I lose a bunch of resources, but I'm out, you know, a whole Link summon, which kind of is kind of rough. But then at that point, depending on what my hand is, I feel as though I'm free to keep going off because his field is still full. And he can't summon any other Psy-Frames via their effects. But then again, he's got that field spell, which I have no way of getting rid of at the moment, which is basically going to turn his summon into a Zeta, which is going to clear anything that I've done on my field off the field. And just like that, he's going to go into Zeta. And at this point, it's still making it just as hard for me to go into any Link monster. I don't have Megalo in hand. I don't have Taya, so it's making this first turn so much harder to go about. And I'm just sort of thinking what my options are at this point. Do I want to go into the Decode Talker? You know, what's the real point? I'm just trying to stall at this point, so I just pass. And now he's got Zeta and Omega on his board. Pot of Duality into a Foolish Burial Good, sending Overload. Is he going to start doing Overload shenanigans? Start gaining resources, and again, we're on that slippery slope. Where this time, it's not that lack of knowledge, because now at this point I know about that, because he told me at the end of game 2, you know, you could have just done this and that, and you would have been in a good spot, in a winning position, even winning the game. So I always had that in mind this game, but the brick hand, the occasional brick hand that everybody runs into, it happens, and I kind of got struck with that. So we go into double Link Spider, just kind of humoring myself, you know, whatever. We'll do this play. It's not going to help out too much. And of course, there's Zeta. You know, doing Zeta things as they would. And Omega. Knocking the infantry out of my hand. I think I put my Decode Talker back in the wrong spot. I think it should have came to the main monster zone. But really, it doesn't matter. I've got a Max C in my hand that's completely dead. He's not going to do any much special summoning, because he's probably going to end up using like a Pot of Duality or something, or, you know, doesn't do much special summoning. And at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I fucked up. I was kind of a little flustered anyways about it. Losing a game to something so stupid. But it is what it is. Mermails taking the loss, not because Mermails is a bad deck and it can't beat Psy-Frames, but I'm bad. And I know how I could have won game 2, so it is what it is. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we just hit 5,000 subscribers like a couple days ago. That's absolutely freaking insane. 5,000 is such a huge milestone. I know I've done celebrations for 1,000, 2,000. I've been doing celebrations all the way up, but this one is so much more special because it's the big 5K, you know, halfway to 10K. It's pretty big for me. I don't know what I'm going to do in celebration, but all I want to do is thank you guys for being here for almost over 3 years now, supporting me and watching my stuff. It's just amazing that anybody gives a shit about what I have to post and say on the internet, especially on a platform like YouTube. That's just amazing. But anyways, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I might make a 5,000 video, just kind of talk to you guys what's going on. So hope you guys check that out. And yeah, collect the annotated videos on the screen. Check out my other channel. Check out my social medias. Again, thanks for 5,000 subs, guys. And always Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.